Welcome. You're watching the India Development Debate. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. And I want to begin today by giving you the latest details on the anti-CAA stir that has been taking place across the country. While the protests have been largely peaceful through the day, by evening the situation turned tense and violence was reported, especially in Delhi, the national capital, and parts of Uttar Pradesh. In Delhi, 16 metro stations were shut, a vehicle was set ablaze in Daryaganj, and stones were pelted at the police at Delhi Gate. So there are instances of protests turning violent that are very worrying and cannot be accepted. Meanwhile, attempts to quell concerns have been ramped up by the government in what could be a possible climb down or softening of stance. News agency PTI has quoted an official saying the government is ready to accept suggestions, if any, from people who are staging protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act. The agency also quotes this official saying anyone born in India before 1987 or whose parents were born before 1987 is a bona fide Indian citizen according to the law. No need to worry due to CAA or possible countrywide NRC. So here's the point. If the government is willing to listen, negotiate, and possibly relook at parts of this controversial act that have seen nationwide protests, that will surely help ease tempers and would be most welcome. We have seen efforts to dispel rumors and educate people on what the government says is its intention. But there must be clarity. The communication must be straightforward and clear, not from unnamed officials. An appeal for calm must be made officially from the highest levels with a clear communication that there is not going to be any witch hunt of anybody. Clarity should also be given on the nationwide NRC, which is causing, along with CAA, more panic than anything else. Along with this, protesters who are opposing the act and who think it's wrong must and have to refrain and actively discourage any kind of rumors or fears that are spreading. The need for calm and peace to prevail is something that everyone can agree upon, and we hope it does prevail. Now, while the protests against CAA have dominated news headlines, the important story we are debating today is Prime Minister Modi's message on the economy. So PM Modi hasn't said too much on the economic slowdown yet. Today, while speaking to a business chamber ASSOCHAM, he responded to the current slump, saying India has the resilience to bounce back. He also said that the economy was heading towards disaster before 2014 and his government has brought in discipline. Importantly, the message comes just before a mega review meet over the weekend where the Prime Minister is set to look at steps taken by various ministries since his second term began. The question is, what can the PM do to revive the economy in the middle of a slowdown? To speak more on this, I'm joined today by Gopal Krishna Agarwal, national spokesperson of the BJP, and Pooja Mehra, author and journalist. But before I get to the debate, let's just play out some of the comments that the Prime Minister made today.
हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था डिजास्टर की तरफ बढ़ रही थी। हमारी सरकार ने न सिर्फ इसे रोका है, बल्कि अर्थव्यवस्था में डिसिप्लिन लाने का भरसक प्रयास किया है। भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था तय नियमों से चले, तय लक्ष्यों की तरफ बढ़े, इसके लिए हमने व्यवस्था में आधारभूत परिवर्तन किए हैं, चौतरफा फैसले लिए हैं, उद्योग जगत की दशकों पुरानी मांगों को पूरा करने पर ध्यान दिया है। फॉर्मलाइजेशन और मॉडर्नाइजेशन, हमें उसे फॉर्मलाइज भी करना है, हमें मॉडर्नाइज भी करना है, और इन दो महत्वपूर्ण पिलर पर हम इसको मजबूती देना चाहते हैं। डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन बढ़ाने के लिए तमाम उपायों से लेकर जीएसटी तक, आधार लिंक पेमेंट से लेकर डीबीटी तक, हमने अर्थव्यवस्था के ज्यादातर आयामों को फॉर्मल व्यवस्था में लाने का प्रयास किया है। इसके साथ ही हम अर्थव्यवस्था को आधुनिक टेक्नोलॉजी का इस्तेमाल करते हुए मॉडर्नाइज और स्पीड अप करने की दिशा में भी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। आज भारत दुनिया के उन टॉप 10 देशों में शामिल है जिसने ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस की रैंकिंग में पिछले 3 वर्षों में लगातार सबसे अच्छा सुधार।
All right, so the Prime Minister there talking about, among other things, how India is all poised to reach a $5 trillion mark, that we're very capable of doing it. That's, definitely something everyone agrees on, that even India will eventually reach the $5 trillion mark. The question is, will it happen by 2024? And what about the situation we are in currently? Gopal Krishna Agarwal and Pooja Mehra joining us in. Pooja, let me come to you first on your take on some of the things the Prime Minister has said today, and also the fact that does this signal him stepping in? Because we've seen, and we know this is a government where the PMO dominates all important decisions. But can we hope and do we need to see the Prime Minister bringing more focus to the economy at this point?
Tamanna, I thought it was an effort from the Prime Minister to take control of the narrative, which has run ahead of the slowdown in the economy. I think the narrative is disproportionately despondent to the state of the economy, but that does not mean that the economy is doing well. The economy most certainly is in deep trouble. So that's positive point that finally Prime Minister wants to change the narrative. But the points that he made do not give me much confidence, and I'm not sure how much confidence it could generate in the economy, because the problems are far too deep, and the kind of things that he said was a lot of rhetoric. It's true that this government has done well to reduce corporate taxes, but that's, as we've been saying in so many of your programs, that's not going to be enough. Also, to go back to 2014 and to say that the economy was heading towards disaster, I don't think that's correct. From in 2011, 2012, the economy was most certainly in a very bad shape, but in 2013, the economy started recovering. The economy that Mr. Narendra Modi inherited in 2014 was gradually but surely recovering. A lot of hard work needed to be done to sustain that recovery, and I'm afraid because a lot of things that needed to be done, such as decisive strategy to deal with NPAs, for instance, bad loans, because those steps were not taken, the recovery was not sustained. So I think now it's time to start making realistic assessment about where in the last 5 years the government has fallen short of what the ask was on the economy side, and take those steps.
No, but Pooja is talking about steps which should have been taken but didn't. Gopal Krishna Agarwal, the fact is that many experts believe that it's steps that were taken which have contributed in a large part to the slowdown that we see today. Namely, the biggest of them all is demonetization, which took place in 2016. After that, the way GST was implemented. Add to that, RERA, which put the real estate sector in some sort of strange bind. So, do you think that we require an acknowledgement of how bad the situation really is? The worrying factor is that we keep going back to this narrative of pre-2014 and post-2014. We're in almost in 2020 right now.
Yeah, definitely. What the issue Prime Minister today said that the theme of today's discussion was $5 trillion economy. Whether that commitment to reach that is there in the government, one thing that he reiterated very strongly, that the government is committed and with full willpower and will work towards it. That's one thing. Second thing is, what are the challenges currently in the economy? There are certain challenges today also, they were there in 2014 also, and they will remain in the future also. The thing is whether the government knows those challenges. That's today very important message that the Prime Minister gave. That was about the what we call is the twin risk averse situation that we are sometimes finding, because there are strong actions against fraud and other things. Therefore, there was some averseness on the risk taking from side from the banking sector, financial institution sector, and there was some averseness or risk feeling from the investor side also, that if we do any investment, if my decision goes wrong, what will be the action from the government. Today he has, with his statement on the company law and on the tax reforms, he has completely tackled that the government knows that the criminalization of risk in the business and decision going false are not to be taken as
He has
frauds.
said that before,
That's an
Mr.
important
Agarwal.
message for the investor. And
No, but he
same
has
time,
said that
he
before.
said now, yeah.
Prime
No,
Minister
let
said that
me
before, Finance Minister has said
no,
that before.
but we have already
But people
taken
are still
action.
not putting
He's
in any
saying
money.
no, no, but that was no, but the thing is that the decriminalization of company law is now already has been initiated. The committee has given its recommendation,
Okay.
and those recommendations are being accepted by the Prime Minister. He said this. This is very important. Earlier, don't worry in itself will not help. Action on those steps have been taken.
Okay.
And second thing is that the labor reform was the another critical challenge, and that also today the government has said, and the Prime Minister has again said, that all the 4 labor codes, which is very important for the industrial development currently, will be implemented in 2020. Already 44 laws have been combined and 4 labor codes have been formulated, but there was some apprehension that hire and fire and minimum wage and other issues of compliances in the labor laws. So that's also he has completely alienated. So I think this is how you meet an economic challenge also. And
Okay.
what I also want to
just bring
reiterate
Pooja
here
in.
is
Let's-
when the
let me
Prime
bring
Minister
Pooja in
talks
and let's
about
keep this debate
2014
moving
and
along
no,
with, quick,
just
pithy
10,
points.
20 second, 20 second, 20 no 20 second more,
Yeah.
20 second more. The 20 second more I want is that when he talks of 2014 and 19 about the macroeconomic parameters, it is not that we want to blame UPA or Congress. It is just comparing that the strength of the economy is on the macroeconomic factors, and if you compare those two macroeconomic factors like fiscal deficit or FDI, etc., there is a marked change and difference, and we have a strong macroeconomic factors from where economy can move ahead.
Okay, fine. Pooja, I've given Gopal Agarwal his complete say, so he can't complain that I was not fair. So 2 points that he makes, that the Prime Minister is now talking about decriminalization in a more cogent way. It's not just, all will be well, all will be well. So people should take heart from that. And also the fact that labor reforms will be implemented in 2020. Now 44-4, it has been argued, is not a reform in itself.
Tamanna, you're right on that. And another point I wanted to bring is that, Prime Minister spoke about formalization of the economy. That's a great intention, but I'm afraid, the policies that have been followed to accomplish that goal have actually led to, if at all, formalization by hurting smaller companies, the informal sector companies. And, if you're going to do something like demonetization or GST, where compliance costs for small companies go up, they're not able to cope, and therefore they lose business to large companies. And therefore, formalization is happening not because the small and large companies are on level playing field, but because of dispossession of small companies and shift of business from small to large companies, then I'm afraid you're paying too much of a cost to formalize your economy. You're giving up what you're gaining by formalization. You're giving up those gains by increasing inequality. And, so therefore, I think, like I said before, I do not see the kind of cogent thinking, the kind of linking of goals to strategies. Intentions, fine, good. Every government since 1947 has had very good intentions. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had very good intentions when he talked about, you know, the commanding heights of the economy.
Okay.
But that's not enough. That doesn't suffice.
Okay, Gopal Krishna Agarwal, you know, the point is, and why we talk about economy pretty much every day, but why today is important and we wanted to make a note of it, is the Prime Minister coming out and sort of giving the message that he is completely seized of what's happening in the economy and he will be taking note. Now, that is something that, you know, economy watchers would welcome. So far, the government seems to be sort of meandering when it comes to the economy. There are loads of announcements, a lot of talk, but nothing really happens. Nothing really big happens. It's all very piecemeal and there doesn't seem to be a cogent vision. Can we hope for that to change?
No, I think the analysis on narration sometimes is not correct. When the issues is the economic moves to in a sequential manner. There were problems in the supply side of the financial institution banking. It took time, 5 years to correct that. Now he has said that the bank have been merged, capitalized. There are issues of NPAs now. History. We have set up IBC, which is completely reforming the NPAs issues, and there also NCLT is being reformed, IBC is being reformed, GST issues have been implemented.
Yes.
So when you talk of RERA, GST, e-assessment, all these issues are a big reforms.
Yeah.
And yeah, but then there is a definitely it's a challenging job that the Prime Minister himself said that I take a challenging job and take an implementation. You could have put up this in a elongated way, but then ultimately, if you want to correct the thing and bring a level playing field, develop India is an important issue. RCEP, we have taken a very strong initiative. FTA are being renegotiated. There are so many sides actions which are being taken by the government. Even delivery mechanism, tax compliances.
No, I'm not saying nothing is being done. I'm not saying that nothing is being done.
Government is not appraised of about economy. We are doing everything on the economy.
No,
I'm saying that we are doing everything on the economy.
Okay, I'll give Pooja a quick comeback before I wrap up. What do you hope to see? What do you hope to see? We know there is going to be review meets starting tomorrow. We are getting into the leg of the preparation for the budget, and we know that in today's day and context, just that one budget day itself is no longer important, because the government's no longer waiting to release all its measures on budget day. But it is an opportunity to reset the focus. Do you think it's important to reset the focus at a time when everyone is talking about, protests and the kind of violence we're seeing on the streets today? The fact is that also mars the economic prospects of a nation.
Absolutely, Tamanna. I think what needs to be done is for everybody to, just roll up their sleeves and get down to fixing the economy. I think that's important for business, that's important for youngsters looking to get jobs, or even students who will be in the job market soon, and for the government. And I think, when Prime Minister takes the review, he wouldn't, like for instance, take the GST. There have been 38 changes in the GST in the little while it has been introduced. This is not something to pat ourselves on the back when we say, oh, we respond to criticism and we take public feedback on board. This is not the way to conduct taxation policy or any sort of economic policy where you take a decision today, you revise it 2 days later. 38 changes in GST. Can you imagine what that means in terms of compliance for companies? So we just need to come out of this mode. We need to take decisions once, and that needs to get fixed, and there should be no need to revisit it for a few years. That's how good decision-making processes should be put in place. And finally, I want to say about this 5 trillion goal. Tamanna, these kind of goals are set in centrally planned economies. No market economy sets these kind of goals. The goal should not be what the size of the economy has to be. The goal has to be by such and such time, this obstacle in
True,
the
true. I
growth
mean,
of the
it's.
economy.
I think it's 5 trillion has become sort of a message, a symbol, really, to the aspirations
No, I think it's an
that
escape.
India aims for, which is
I
all
think
well
it's
and
a
good.
diversion.
You
Yeah.
require
Okay, I need to wrap up now.
Tamanna.
I need to wrap up now. I need to wrap up now. There will be many more. There will be many more economy debates, even as we come into the budget. Mr. Agarwal, you will be invited back to many of them. So allow me to wrap up for today. Thank you so much, Gopal Krishna Agarwal and Pooja Mehra, for joining us on the show today.